Welcome to another episode of the Corporate Cowboys podcast. My name is Alex. I'll be your host for the next half hour. A little proof of life. I'll give it to you in the front this time. It's Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. And if you're not familiar with how this podcast works, well, this is an ongoing project that helps us develop our professional development. Really helps us improve and grow and become better professionals. And in the pursuit of attaining that state of consummate professionalism. Okay? So treat this next half hour as if it were an open office hour, right? It's not a full hour, of course. That's why I'm calling it a half hour, because time is money and I'm being more than charitable, which is why I'm able to give you this form of general advice. It's like a type of advice. Really, it's just, I could qualify it as my personal opinion, right? But if we're talking about what a corporate cowboy would do, well, I identify as a corporate cowboy. That being said, I can tell you what a corporate cowboy would do. I can give you that opinion, okay? So, legal disclaimer is that nothing that we post, nothing that we publish on our platforms or via this podcast should be construed as legal advice to you. If you haven't engaged us, if you haven't directly consulted with us, then you can't say, gangsta rap made you do it. You can't say, Alex told me if you can put 8 in the magazine and 1 in the head. No, you can't. You can't deflect, right? You have to own up, take responsibility, be accountable to your actions, right? So today's question is coming from r/career advice. And they're asking a very, there's no question mark here, but they're asking a very peculiar, I guess they're asking for a peace of mind. Yeah, that's what they're asking for. They're asking for peace of mind. The title reads, ChatGPT got me promoted at my job, and I feel like a fraud. So they have to reconcile the results, in real life. They have to reconcile their results in real life with how they feel. Now, it's understandable that they don't want to feel like a fraud because they've used this technological tool in attaining success that they might not have otherwise had. But at the end of the day, it's a tool that's accessible to many. And if it hasn't been done before, someone was bound to do it. This is just me spitting it off top, right? So if their managers knew how to work ChatGPT, it would have already been done. If anything, they might consider themselves to be in a position to use ChatGPT. It's what they get paid for, right? So how you get your work done, so long as it does get done and you understand how it's getting done. Now, I don't know how familiar you, the listener, is with this artificial intelligence language learning model, right? Or language learning machine. But having used it, you just in cursory use, I don't think it does your job for you. It really doesn't. If anything, it expedites certain processes in how you might do a job, right? But it does not do your job for you from start to finish, not at all. It's still, the idea is still conceived by your initiative. It still comes from you. The inputs that you use ChatGPT with, right? Those still originate from you. So you shouldn't feel guilty because you had a good idea and then used ChatGPT as a tool to implement it or to develop it further and make it manifest, make it a reality, right? That's just you employing a tool that you otherwise would have done on your own without ChatGPT anyways, but it expedited it for you. It made the process a little faster, maybe streamlined it for you, right? But it didn't do the work for you just because you signed up for the free trial or you're paying for whatever premium package that the work is going to get done with you just sitting at your desk with your hands crossed, with your hands folded, with your hands interlocked, just not doing anything. No, the idea, the purpose still comes from you and how ChatGPT is used. Okay? And that's just the title of the post. I'll go ahead and read the body. The body seems a little long, but it's broken into neat paragraphs. So maybe it'll allow us to interject a little commentary, a little opinion on our part. All right. They start with, all right, a little backstory here. I used to work as a freelance copywriter. Ooh, very, very clutch spot, very clutch job to be using ChatGPT with. I mean, if I'm not going to go into how ChatGPT works or how you could use it and how to use it optimally, how to optimize its use. If you want to learn about artificial intelligence and everything that goes behind machine learning, all of that good stuff, there's videos on it out there. There's web pages and manuals and books, theories and applications, and it's all available online and it's free. You can go to your local library at this point and hit them up, and I'm sure they've got how to get you started in artificial intelligence, right? So that's not what this podcast is for. This podcast is specifically tailored for the modern day professional who is making moves in, up, and through corporate, okay? So they write, all right, a little backstory here. I used to work as a freelance copywriter. I was making decent money, more than most of my peers. I'm 23, so I guess that's not hard than most of their peers. What, they're 23, so maybe they're making 50K, 60K? I mean, that's for starters. If they're making more than the average, and the average, I think nationally is what, 40, 45, 50? But, we're reducing that to their age range. So I would say about, 45, 50 for a younger person who might be starting their career at the tender age of 23, right? But, they're a freelancer, they're independent, they're an independent contract professional. So maybe they are negotiating their worth and they're making big moves. Maybe it's 70, 80. Who's to say, right? About a year ago, they write, I was contacted by a tech startup to do some marketing work for them. It was really fun and I kind of got obsessed with it. The problem was this was a tech startup and I didn't know a damn thing about tech or SaaS, that's software as a service. They didn't know a damn thing about tech or SaaS at the time because all the work I'd done up to that point had been for marketing agencies. The next paragraph, I started studying and trying to learn more about SaaS marketing and eventually got a decent understanding of what I needed to do. All right, the next paragraph. But I also love ChatGPT, so I used it and got some prompts from a newsletter I read sometimes. Okay, I think since the inception of ChatGPT and AI, all these folks who are like, click here and sign up for this and pay for this monthly or weekly newsletter on the latest ChatGPT prompts you can use, to hack life and to make money, right? Like these are all prompts that are really just more technical, narrowly tailored Google searches. I mean, search engines of any kind, but they're searches nonetheless. What you're doing is you are prompting this machine to create some kind of output and you are inputting into it what you need your output to contain, right? Is that not like a search engine? It's exactly a search engine, and it's a tool nonetheless. I mean, folks say, hey, Google is your friend, right? When before they used to say the library is your friend, and now that most all books of the library are contained, that's what they're there for. They're there at your disposal for you to be able to pick up and use to your advantage. This is how good ideas come to fruition. This is how good ideas are capitalized on, right? So if you have one additional tool in your arsenal that other folks apparently have access to but are not using, you're better for it, right? You may not even be as, you may not be an expert in using it, but the fact that you are using it is what puts you ahead of the rest, all right? Let's continue here. They write, so I started studying and trying to learn more about SaaS marketing and eventually got a decent understanding of what I needed to do. But I also love ChatGPT. So I used it and got some prompts from a newsletter I read sometimes. They included a link here, but I mean, shit, for all we know, this whole post could have been made with ChatGPT just to get you to fucking click on the link. They continue. They write, I built these elaborate plans off of what ChatGPT gave me and pitched them to the CEO. It's a small team, so I had contact with the CEO daily, and he loved them. We started implementing the plans, and they actually worked. You see, so this is a good thing, actually. This is a way of using ChatGPT to your advantage. You have a good idea on what it is you want to explore, on what it is you want to be better at, and ChatGPT is able to create a guideline or able to create a process, a pathway, hypothetical, if anything, and it will be hypothetical until you actually act on it. It's only hypothetical until you make a move to make it a reality that allows you to improve your standing, improve your professional know-how, as well as the standing of your company. And because you are in a small size company and you have close and direct access to the CEO, these ideas are coming from you. Someone that the CEO has been paying, someone who the CEO pays and whose job it is to do this work, right? So because this type of dynamic tends to be more of a reality in smaller, tight-knit companies and groups. Why? Because the leadership has direct access to information coming from people who are on the ground, from people that are on the front lines. And in this case, it's our hypothetical client that's on the front lines. And if they don't have to report to one or two or three or however many number of middle managers on the way to the CEO, if they have direct access to the CEO, then they're able to tell the CEO exactly what is the issue, exactly what might be possible solutions, and help the CEO plot a course and navigate toward a positive, a productive resolution of these problems. All right? And that's really what every professional dream, that's what every corporate cowboy dreams of, is that a CEO takes, it doesn't have to be good advice, it's just good counsel, takes good counsel when it is available and acts on it. Otherwise, you have middle managers touching up the information and doctoring and cooking the books on the way up to the CEO so that nothing ever fucking changes. Why? Because for whatever reason, the status quo is better than change. For whatever reason, the status quo is better than uncomfortable growth, than painful, than growing pains, right? So I could see why it might, especially when no one else is making these kind of moves, I can see why it might feel disingenuous, but it's genuinely coming from you, and you're making these moves to improve your position, to improve your own social status as a professional, obviously, but also to improve the status of your company so that in turn you might be able to get paid more. And it appears like you have, getting promoted. Why feel guilty about it? So they fast forward here. They, sorry, I skipped the paragraph. It's one sentence. They say, We started implementing the plans and they actually worked. Nice. We crushed our revenue goal immediately after and then again for the next 3 months. Nice. Okay, you're just knocking the revenue goal out of the park. That's a whole quarter that you might be able to tie to the fact that they came from, your initiative, right? If you did this properly and you documented it and you recorded it, I don't know if it was via email or via text or a group chat phone calls, it's a little hard. It's a little harder to recall. It's a little harder to record unless you're in a state that allows it. But if you can document this, then you have a portfolio going of the successes that you've been able to keep should you ever leave this company. But you can now track and trace your successes via actions that you've taken in collaboration with the CEO. You've got the CEO's ear when, it is relevant to your, I need to stop saying, You see, I just caught myself. And I do this just about every episode. Every episode is about constant improvement. So you have the CEO's ear when it is relevant to a matter of expertise that you are familiar with, and that makes you more valuable. Whether or not it's with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just a means to an end. But the end is making it happen, is getting it done. And ChatGPT won't do that for you. You have to make that move. It's similar. I'm going to say it is similar to individuals who, to clients who come to us for consultations on how to move in and out of corporate, through corporate, and navigate the corporate ladder. But you can't, it's more particularized, it's more contextualized. You're dealing with more social, psychological profiles of individuals as you move up the corporate ladder. Sure, you might be able to input, and I have tried this, you might be able to input into ChatGPT how to plot a course for your own career, but they're going to give you, or if you give them external inputs as far as like what your traits and your talents and your abilities are, they're going to give you options for how to move around your life, perhaps, right? On like certain avenues to approach. But you start dropping in like psychological profiles, and this is going to be difficult if you are not familiar, or if you are not socializing, if you're not networking, if you're not being a consummate professional in terms of service inside and outside of the corporation. ChatGPT won't be much help there. But you come to us, and as corporate cowboys, we can help you brainstorm, consider different approaches that you could probably go back to ChatGPT and give it a better input, a better prompt, right? Now, I have seen no newsletters that do that. Otherwise, it would have already been done, which is why you won't see career consultation be taken over by AI anytime soon. Sure, I've seen the boss GPT. Why am I umming and ahhing? Stop saying like, Alex. I've seen boss GPT where you treat Chat GPT like a secretary, or like a marketing director, or like an account executive, the president even. And you could give them scenarios on how to approach a situation, an issue in terms of business or industry, and keyword is might, be able to give you a workable solution. And yes, it is true that the more information and the better information that you give ChatGPT, the more likelihood, the more probability you stand of getting a good answer, an informed answer. But you come to a professional, an experienced professionals that have been in the field and have put in the work, who have worked with people of different industries and are familiar with the social psychological virtues that exist in corporate and that are used in corporate to get ahead. I mean, that's when you can start making moves of your own, either to the benefit or I'm going to say to the mutual benefits of all parties. And if you need to knock someone out or knock someone off the corporate ladder, not in real life, if you need to knock someone off, that could also be done, right? Which if my understanding is right, ChatGPT again won't help you because as a, what do they use? The fucking pretext they use? As a learning AI language model, that's against community fucking standards and guidelines or some shit, right? To work to the detriment of somebody else. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo, that shit is done in corporate every day, which again, in that sense, real life consultants, real life corporate cowboys have ChatGPT beat. All right. Let me, I think that was the last paragraph of the body on that. They write, fast forward to mid-July and I'm on vacation. Okay, all right. My guy's on vacation, male or female, I don't give a fuck. This person is on vacation. I get a call from the CEO and he said he wants to offer me a full-time job because what I did with marketing. He told me what he was prepared to offer me and I immediately said yes. The offer included a great salary, that's more than double what I was making, and 2 full percentage points of the company. That's worth $200,000 in equity. I haven't fully accepted it yet, but I have a meeting with the board of investors at the end of this week. I feel like a fraud and I don't know what to do. What should I say if they ask me how I came up with the ideas? Should I come clean about ChatGPT? And the answer is no. Personally, I wouldn't. I think when it comes to disclosing your own trade secrets, because at this point, this is like a trade secret of your own. And that's the beauty of being an independent professional, is how you get the work done is your business. And you disclosing that, you would essentially be selling yourself out, right? If they could find another like a young college grad or even a high school student, if they could find a fucking monkey, a chimp, and train it to do what you did, they would, in the blink of an eye, and boot you out and pay the monkey in bananas, right? As the saying goes, pay the monkey in fucking bananas and be richer for it, become more profitable for it. Now it's a smaller company, so again, we don't know what the cultural dynamic is like, and that's all background information that we would get from the hypothetical client if we were interviewing them as far as the next move to make. But you still want to tell them that the ideas came from you. If possible, and I have used ChatGPT before, where I've asked it questions. I've asked it questions on engineering, on science, on mathematical theory and whatnot. And the answers are in line with how I would have approached it logically, right? Or the answers are in line because if I asked it a question where I already knew the answer, and the answer that it spits out is pretty much, it's uncannily, it's eerily word for word on how I would explain it if like a professor or a teacher of mine asked me to show my work. ChatGPT shows its work, right? And you already had an idea of how to get these initiatives done, of how to materialize these good ideas and pitch them to the CEO. And what you want to do is just follow through with that explanation on the ideas you had, why they would work, why you believed they would work, the trends that you were tracking. In order for you to ask ChatGPT these questions, the idea had to be there, right? Don't sell yourself short. Don't act as if, oh, you did none of the work, so ChatGPT did it all. Otherwise, they would be interviewing ChatGPT tomorrow. And they're not, are they? They're interviewing you. So follow through with that line of logic and explain to them what you believe the market trends were at the time, how you managed to track it, the additional knowledge and information you went out in search of, because you still had to get a foundational, this is a basic understanding of SaaS, of software as a service. And in order for you to take the next step and make your move, you still had to understand it before even knowing what question to ask. And still, you could have gone the long way and just ask all these questions of Google and then piece it together by yourself. When if you know what questions to ask and how to tailor your question, and ChatGPT cuts down the time it takes you to research and compile it and create a PowerPoint presentation to pitch to the CEO, then it just saves you. It's just a tool. It's just a tool. It made the. Why am I getting flustered over this? It just cut down the time for research, analysis, and presentation. That's all. That's it. But you still have to make the move. You still have to act on pitching it to the CEO. The CEO still had to act and decide on whether or not to pursue this course of action, right? So ChatGPT didn't do the CEO's job, did it? Not at all. Not at all. Let's see the next paragraph here. They write, the offer included a great salary, more than double what I was making, and 2 full percentage points of the company. That's worth $200,000 in equity. I haven't fully accepted it yet, but I have a meeting with the board of investors at the end of this week. I feel like a fraud and I don't know what to do. What should I say? Should I come clean? Wasn't that hard of a question to answer. I think the most professional route, most professional path you could take is not disclose the ChatGPT. ChatGPT exists. It's out there. Treat it like another search engine. It's not going to take your job. It's not. You know how to use ChatGPT to your advantage. You know how to market your skill in conjunction with how you use ChatGPT. Then that's more power to you. That's you being professional about it. They still need a body in that chair, even if it is only to type in those inputs to ChatGPT. You still need to know what to ask of ChatGPT in order to get it done, right? It's not doing it for you automatically. You still need to know your work. You still need to know how to check your work, because ChatGPT could spit out misinformation. And you've seen the headlines. ChatGPT doesn't like statistics. ChatGPT doesn't like biological science. ChatGPT doesn't like politics unless it's, somewhat self-serving to whoever programmed it. ChatGPT has its own biases and prejudices, right? ChatGPT doesn't like certain off-color jokes unless it's jokes that make it laugh in ones and zeros by whomever programmed it, right? So you still have to double check your own work, which is just another step that you would have done if you did not have ChatGPT. You have to do the work, show your work, and verify your answer, do you not? And it's just the scientific method all over again. And ChatGPT, lucky for us, is like a half-brain intern who could do the basics for us. A little research, a little compilation, and then we have to go through and proofread and edit the work. Proofread and verify. Proofread and personalize. Because, and I've heard of some horror stories of people who just type in like school assignment questions, right, into this ChatGPT, and they just copy and paste the answer and submit it. And ChatGPT has like a introductory paragraph and a concluding paragraph that lets you know it's ChatGPT. And these people, they don't proofread, they don't verify, they don't edit, they don't personalize, they don't cross-reference, nothing. They think ChatGPT is doing the work for them. And that's how they get caught lacking. That's how they fuck up. It's the funniest thing, and it's a very terrifying thing too, right? It's a very terrifying thing too, because a lot of these motherfuckers are half brains themselves, and they think that that they're becoming, what's the term called? Dang, is it bionicle? What's the fucking term called? Transhuman. That's right. So that's like the next phase in AI, right? As we approach the singularity, we're becoming transhuman. Nah, you're becoming trans retarded. There's motherfuckers who forgot how to do math because they think the calculator does it all. Oh, the calculator did it for me. But you still have to understand math to be able to know the operations you're asking of it. You need a fundamental understanding of math to even ask it of it. Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, the information you interpret is going to be it's going to be off. It's going to be off, and you won't be able to sell it. You won't be able to act on it accordingly, right? You won't be able to justify or rationalize any actions that you take from it. And if that's the best you can do as a professional, as a salesperson, because that's what you're doing, you're selling your services. A lot of folks think, oh, you're selling yourself. You're prostituting yourself to the system. Nah, you're selling your services. We're fucking professionals here. We're not slaves. We're not slaves. Even though we're born into this system, you want to elevate yourself to the level of agency that comes with being a consummate professional and dealing with corporations, dealing with institutions, associations, groups, other professionals who might have titles, motherfuckers who might have immunity, quote unquote, diplomatic or otherwise, dealing with them one-to-one, learning to work with them and shake their hands if necessary. I mean, stab them in the neck if you have to, but shake their hands to work with them, not work for them. Okay? So, like and subscribe. Fucking share this podcast. Share the corporate love with those that you love, those that are in your circle, associates and otherwise, your colleagues, your family, friends. Follow us on Instagram. That's at Corporate Cowboys with a Z. On Patreon, that's the Corporate Cowboys Podcast on Patreon. And we got a couple of donation links floating around. You can find them. You're a smart cookie. And if you want to write to us, send us questionable items and paraphernalia, corporate paraphernalia we can utilize inside of corporate hallways so as to not make any noise. Wink, wink. That's P.O. Box 3372, Rancho Cordova, California, 95741. That's forwarded to us periodically, and we'll write back when it's convenient. So take care of yourselves. We'll catch you next time.